The truth will set you free, but not until it is finished with you. That was by David Foster Wallace. My name is Daryl Guberman. I am the CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. I've been involved with quality for over 40 plus years. My background is aerospace, medical implants, medical materials, printing, and plastic distribution, where we dealt with every industry under the sun. We have three general guests here. We have David Calhoun, CEO of Boeing. He's been involved with Boeing since 2009. At that time, the FAA came in and gave regulatory authorities to some of the Boeing employees, and you're going to find that out. This video goes to, and let me continue on though, I'm sorry. We have this gentleman here, Donald Kirkland, former Lieutenant General. Thank you, retired. Thank you for your service. And he is the comprehensive quality review for the 737 MAX. We also have former Deputy Secretary of Defense, Patrick Shanahan, who most recently in September 2023 took over Spirit Aero Systems. And you'll find out, you dig deep into the internet, you find out that their quality is in the trash. Maybe he could do a better job. I don't know. But he did mention during an interview when he was the secretary, the deputy secretary, he said that the F-35 program is effed. And, or as he said, it's fucked. So when you get on an airplane, and here it goes, this goes to QATAR Airlines. And I do this, you don't know me and I don't know you, but I do this because in Judaism, there is a saying that if you save one life, you save the world eternal. And that is why I am doing this. If I can save one life, I have saved the world eternal. So QA expert Daryl Guberman alerts QATAR Airlines or Airways and passengers about Boeing being an FAA regulator since 2009 to present. We continue. And I say this with a heavy heart, QATAR Airlines. If you purchased aircraft from Boeing from 2002 to present, you have problems because they were a regulator in 2009, just 7 years after Boeing gave their quality authority over to ANSI, where they sit on the board of the American National Standards Institute and the American National Crediting Board. And here we go. ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental corporation, and it's been around for over 100 years plus, and it has federal agencies and corporations on board. In 2015, a Mr. Randy Doty. Mr. Randy Doty was the vice president of ANAP and the chairman and principal on the International Accreditation Forum's 990 tax form. He handed over leadership to this communist Chinese national who's been involved with our quality for 30 years, Zhao Jinwu. Zhao Jinwu was also at the time the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services. He is also mandated by his country of origin, Communist China, to take anybody's data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. There we go. You have him over here in the BioLevel 4 laboratory, the Wuhan lab that released the virus. And the reason why I say it released it is because ANAP had their vice president of quality down in Texas because of a laboratory conundrum, and it was. And she basically said, Pamela Sale, vice president of quality in 2017-18, said that from one laboratory to another, there are variances and they lack protocol. So here we go. You have ANAP, who sits on ANSI's board. You also have in 2018, ANSI took over complete control over ANAP, unbelievably so. And you look even further, and they sat between 2015 and 21 on the IAF, Incorporated in Delaware, International Accreditation Forum, incorporated in Delaware, watched over by a communist Chinese national between 2015 and 21. So we continue on. And they are also underwriters for both the International Accreditation Forum, incorporated in Delaware, and also the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation out of Australia. One of the worst things I find very distasteful as a proud American Jewish business leader, is the factor that you dig into this dirt and you find out on the IAF at the same time, and I think they're still on there, is you have Pakistan and Iran. We put sanctions on these countries, and look, they're on American soil. So when you hear the president, no matter who it is, put sanctions on Iran and Pakistan, they do a workaround, a big workaround, a sad workaround indeed. And the worst thing is you have Pakistan, who harbored Osama bin Laden. You have Ayatollah Khomeini, or whatever the heck his name is. He says debt to the United States. And they're supplying Hamas with money and ammunition, bullets and guns and all the rest, probably ANSI accredited, but who the heck knows? How can ANSI and ANAB have a good conscience at night when you have Iran and Pakistan, and they are equivalent in accreditation to ANSI ANAB? And you will find very shortly on Boeing supplier portal that it calls internationally equivalent. You're gonna have Iran and Pakistan. Go to you hear that, David Calhoun? Anything. I don't care, maybe he's on the golf course, I don't know. But anyway, here you go. There are 7 different registrars, there's like 60 of them, but there's 7 different registrars that ANSI has on board. Sitting right over by the accreditation body that they stick the little label on saying they're accredited by ANAB, which means that there is no oversight. You can see that. You can see it with the quality that is being dispensed from both Boeing, from Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, from Sparrow Aerospace Systems. Sorry about that, Patrick. And it's disgusting. It's not sorry, I'm telling the truth. Intertek is the registrar that they use for Sparrow Aerosystems. Now, this is very important, QATAR. This is where the rubber hits the road. You have Boeing. You have the factor that Boeing sits on ANSI's board, right over by the FAA, right out of the Department of Transportation. In 2002, they came out with a supplier bulletin. And this bulletin basically says that if you're ANSI ANAB accredited, we at Boeing do not have to send any more source inspectors to your facility, your factory, whatever, your machine shop. You just send us the certificate, AS9100, which is for aerospace, International Standard for Aerospace, ISO standard, and just send us your parts and we'll put them on the plane. Now, this has happened for 22 years, QATAR, 22 years, and you can't make this up. We never saw a document that reneged that, but it's very easy for them to doctor up a document and say, in 2003, we changed. I don't doubt that's going to happen. But anyway, here we go. This is worse than even that. Okay, that's bad about sending parts in without any inspection. That's basically it. The inspection is taken over by the machine shop that manufactures it. Another self-inspection going on. It's just perpetual. Remember something. They call this incrementing tolerances, meaning there's a tolerance for a tolerance for a tolerance. So if everybody is self-inspecting, it builds up to the problem of Spirit, not only Spirit, but it builds up to the problem of Alaskan Air. That's the problem. And over here in the first part of this is what the FAA did. The FAA increased the authority of Boeing's commercial airline division to self-certify its own aircraft. Boeing employees to perform tasks on behalf of the FAA that include oversight of testing and product standards, along with certification of aircraft technologies and new aircraft designs. Basically, what they did is they went in 2009 when Mr. Calhoun was sitting on the board, and they gave regulatory authority to Boeing. Okay, here's Boeing's portal. Boeing's portal calls out ANSI ANAB, or internationally equivalent. You cannot make this up. Yes. And this is the one that should really bother you too, QATAR Airlines, is this. These are only some of the articles that tell you that Boeing got caught fudging documentation in their commercial airline division way after 2009 when they were given regulatory authority by FAA. On top of that, a V-22 Osprey just went down about a month ago. In their Bell Boeing V-22 Osprey composite facility, and I'm a composite inspector. I've done that. I was doing that for a long time. And I'll tell you, you take Kevlar impregnated with a resin. You put Kevlar under temperature and time and pressure. What happens is that becomes one solid part. Now, if you run the risk, and what happened is, from what I heard and read, They got fined $8.1 million. The Department of Justice fined them. And by the way, DOJ sits on ANSI's board too. What happened is that they were, again, fudging documentation from 2007 to 2018, 11 years. So where was their oversight? There is no, because the FAA made them oversight. I guess their oversight went into military too, because for commercial airlines, as you heard, they had complete FAA authority. So if you have interstitial bubbles, the space between the fiber or the spaces between the fabric, and you have bubbles that accrued because of not having the proper temperature or pressure, and you have vibratory stresses from a helicopter, from an airplane, you'll have separation of fabric and possibly failure up to and including aircraft crash. You have sitting on ANSI's board the FAA. The FAA, the authority, the oversight, but as I read to you, so are they. Boeing is equivalent as an authoritative body as the FAA. And then I read most recently that the National Transportation Safety Board is going to be investigating with the FAA Boeing. Well, how can you investigate one regulatory authority, Boeing, when you have both of these organizations, the Department of Transportation, which has the National Safety Board on back, and National Transportation Safety Board is part of the DOT? How can you have a conundrum now, because Boeing was made a regulatory authority of FAA in 2009 for their commercial airline division. My telephone number is 203-556-1493 or Daryl, TQRS, @yahoo.com. I thank you.